Hello, hello, beautiful people. Welcome back to the Queen's Perspective once again. It's been a minute, but this video definitely took a little thought. And I think, like, the last little, I guess you can say, hurdle that I had to get through, and just basically, because I kind of touched on it before, but I didn't really go into a lot of details about it. So this video is kind of stemmed from a post that I made on my Facebook group, Evolution of You, Life After Narcissistic Abuse. And this one talks about narcissistic parents. And the question is my mother a narcissist? Or is my father a narcissist, or whoever raised you? So I kind of jotted down some things that I didn't want to miss any points. So, all right. After this is okay, I'll start with the first one. After coming to age where you're able to realize, life's, how life works or whatever to some degree. You've always felt something wasn't quite right as a child. Like, okay, I don't understand that. Why is that happening? Why did that make me feel this way? Or, you know what I'm saying? You had these questions, and this is even as a kid. I'm talking about, like, I know for me, certain things will happen, and even I can remember, like, I say when I was about 10 or 11, I could remember things that I would be like, okay, why did that happen? Why did that make me feel that way? So, okay. So then the second one is, have you ever felt so emotionally abandoned by your parent that you remember telling yourself, I wish I was never born? This actually happened to me when I was about that age. I felt, for number one, I guess I can kind of go into like my own personal experience. Like my dad was never in my life. So that was like I guess you could say, physical abandonment. And then I always felt like I didn't get the emotional input that I should have gotten as a child. So, in other words, it's called being emotionally abandoned or neglected by a parent. And that can cause basically emotional and psychological damage, which is, my case. Like I said, when I started doing some soul searching and trying to figure out why I was ending up in these um, toxic relationships, it traced back to childhood and how I was programmed as a child to respond, or that when you experience emotional abandonment by your mother as a girl, it kind of like, ain't no kind of, it is, it basically subconsciously, it's like you're looking for that approval. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh yeah, I want, you know what I'm saying, my mom, my pops to be proud of me, but you never get it. You get what I'm saying? So it's kind of like you carry that on into your adult life subconsciously and not even knowing it. And so then you meet these people who are toxic individuals, and they basically looking for an opportunity to capitalize on a person who, that may be an area of weakness for them. So what they do is just basically fill you out and see, oh, okay, that's how she responded to that, or that's how he responded to that if it's a female narcissist. Then they'll load you up with that, and you'll be thinking like, oh, okay, this person really into me, blah blah. But like I said, if you watch the other videos, it's all an illusion. It's all a setup, basically. So anyway, that was one of the things, like you said, you just feel so just like, man, why am I even here? What is the purpose or whatever? So, and I only told maybe, like, I think one person in my life that particular that story right there when I was telling her about that. Growing up during your teen years, did you always feel like you were trying to, oh, this is basically what I talk about, gain your parents' approval, or when they did give you a compliment, it was always canceled out by criticism? That's the part I didn't touch on. So it's kind of like, oh, okay, that was good that you did that, but what you should have did was, like, basically your efforts and your individual input and perspective on it wasn't good enough. So it gives you that sense of, man, I'm not even, you know what I'm saying? I can't even be good enough for my own parent, blah, blah, blah. That it messes with your self worth. Okay, did you ever feel Did you ever feel like you never had a voice? That's another sign. Some examples of that would be, let's see, I'm talking about extreme. You never get to answer a question. They'll ask you a question and then basically give you the answer. Basically give you your answer to their question instead of allowing you to answer the question. And then if you do try to answer, then it's, oh, you being disrespectful, or you calling me a lie and all of this type of stuff. And I'm talking about to the extreme with it now. Those are signs of a narcissistic parent. When you gave your thoughts, were they always shut down? So in other words, always shut down with no, that's not what you think, or that's not what you feel. Then basically, like I just said in the last one, they kind of gave you your thoughts. So it teaches you, it programs you subconsciously to not trust yourself. And you're always trying to think, dang, did I really? You're always second guessing yourself. That's what it programs you to do. The ignoring tactic. That this is one that was like very, that I'm very familiar with. The ignoring tactic is when the parent get mad at you, instead of, you know what I'm saying, communicating healthy, they'll just, let's say they go to their room and just close the door and just ignore you for the rest of the day. Even when it's something important that don't even have nothing to do with whatever they were mad about you. You know what I'm saying? It's just that type of stuff. And that's even in, like I said, narcissistic intimate relationships. It's called withholding. That's the term that the psychologists use, withholding. When your life decisions don't match what they think you should be, in doing so, you get called a bad person, incompetent, stupid, or wishing something bad on you. That's all right. If you don't listen to what I have to say, you're going to go out there and you're going to end up dead, or, you know what I'm saying? And I'm not talking about when parents trying to give you like legitimate, like you contemplating doing something crazy or what. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about just like basic life. It's like a job, let's just say a career choice that you made for yourself, that you felt in your heart you wanted to do or whatever. And they always had this other career in mind for you. So it's basically like, oh, okay, so now they want to use manipulation and control and fear tactics. That's what it is. And try to tell you, okay, well, you want to do that, then yeah, this gonna happen to you. You never was quite smart, and this just proves it right here, like that type of stuff. You get what I'm saying? So those type of things are physical, not physical, psychological and emotionally abusive. Like I said, and it programs you subconsciously, like I said, to second guess yourself and not trust your gut instinct. It weakens the throat chakra. Just and it puts you in the state of being, what's the word I'm looking for? Emotionally depleted. I guess that's the word I'm looking for. In other words, like I say it leaves you emotionally starving. That's a more better term. So in other words, it's like you grew up with this. So you might not think or know that you're doing it consciously, but it's like you're always seeking that emotional approval from what you think is in a relationship, but it really goes back to the emotional approval that you desired from your parents or your parent. That's really what it boils down to. And then another one too, like I had talked about in one of my other videos, about how the parent can be envious of the child because of the choices that you made. Maybe your parents, they didn't or wasn't able to, or I should say they could have, and I know wasn't able, because everybody can make a choice to do what they want, but maybe they always wanted to do something and say they never had the courage to do it. Then when they see you break out and do it with your own individuality, you can sense a little envy, a little envious, a little resentment towards you, even in statements. If you could read through all the other just manipulation and BS, you can see right through it. Um, always criticizing. Oh, that's another one. When you have kids and when you come around, they'll always criticize your parenting style, um, or overstepping their boundaries. In other words, undermining you in front of your children. Um, like if you tell a kid to do something, no, you don't need to do that. And then so now you going back and forth. No, I said do so and so. Then they'll be, well, I'm the grandmother or I'm the granddaddy. I said you can so. Really? Really? No. Then that's when you need to just take your kids and you need to leave. And make sure you get it straight with your kids. I am your parents. If I tell you to do something, you do what I tell you to do. It's just, like I said, just so much um, negativity, Like I said, and it's no different, whether it be a parent, a mate, a friend, a boss that's a narcissist. When I tell you it is a freaking playbook somewhere that they all follow with the same script because they operate exactly the same. Exactly the same. And the last one that I wanted to touch on, they'll cause, this is another one too you have to look out for. I mean, there's plenty other signs, but these are the points that I wanted to touch on. But they'll cause what they call it, I think it's dissension, I think that's the word I'm looking for, or rivalry between, amongst the siblings, like calling you on the phone or calling the other brother or sister on the phone or whatever, and just, they'll even go to the point where they'll make up lies or exaggerate a story just to get you on their side. And that's the little term that I told y'all in that other video, flying monkeys. Well, in other words, they try to get allies. That's basically what it is. So they'll, like I said, fabricate a story, add to a story, exaggerate just so they can get somebody on their side or whatever. And it's just pretty, once you understand this and how these people operate, it's pretty fucking sickening when you sit back and look at it. And it's just like, I can't even believe it. But I believe, from what I know and what I'm starting to realize is, like I said, they're all the same. So you pretty much got to treat it, like I said, when you're in an intimate relationship, how you get over it, and how I was able to get over the last relationship was, it was just like the thought just came to me, like the person that I fell in love with never existed. So it's the same thing with your parents. And then put it like this, before I say that, there's just things that society basically just screwed us all up, and had us thinking all this mind control shit and this how it's supposed to be for everybody. Everything don't work for everybody, every person. Every person is an individual. So how one person may handle something, the other person may not handle it the same way or cannot take it like the other person. So all this, okay, let's put it like this. I'll give an example of what I'm saying. If you have parents that were physically and sexually abusive to you, this is what society say. Well, you should forgive your parents, and then when they get older and whatever, and something happened to them, they want you to sit up here. Well, yeah, you're supposed to take care of. No, fuck that. I don't agree with that. I'm sorry. I'm not the one. I can't do it. If a person been sitting here burning me with cigarettes as a kid, and it's the person that supposed to look up to and supposed to teach you things about life positively, and they doing all these bad things to you, sexually abusing you. Now you got all this stuff embedded in your subconscious, and it's like you fighting within yourself just because people told you need to forgive and you need to take care of them. No, I'm not feeling that. I'm not feeling that at all. I don't agree with it. Like I said, it's time out for this mind control shit, and I'm on all levels, point blank, period. So I say the same thing. I said all that to say, same thing goes for psychological and emotional abuse. Abuse is abuse, whether it's what I'm saying, physical, sexual, emotional, psychological. It's all the same. Abuse is abuse. Like I said, the effects of it affects you negatively in every last one of those aspects. So when people say, well, you shouldn't cut your parents off, or you shouldn't do that, that's not right, but that really comes from all of that religious, what's the word I'm looking for? conditioning and indoctrination. That's the word I'm looking for. Well, you're supposed to obey your parents, and because you think some little bad stuff gonna happen to you if you don't. But if your parents weren't right, okay, so now what? Like I said, I'm just trying to point out, my perspective on it. You don't have to agree with it or whatever. Cool. You're entitled to your opinion and your thoughts, just like I'm entitled to mine. But I'm just saying, and I'm just trying to give you some little tips and some clues on how to recognize a narcissistic parent. And like I said, if this person, if you thought, like for me, for instance, if you think, sometimes you may think you over something emotionally or whatever, but then you come around this person and it just triggers all of that. You get what I'm saying? It's almost like it take you back to that when you was a child and you feel like, but you a grown ass woman or a grown ass man, and you like, why am I still feeling this? That's because you have to dig deep and deal with all of that, that stuff. You need to dig a little deeper or whatever. Like, it's not saying that you not healing, but you just got to dig a little deeper. And that's what like I said, came to the conclusion that I had to do. And for me to deal with certain things, I have to cut people off, whether that be for good or for, however long I need to get what I need to get within myself right. And that's just me, like I said. And so people just need to respect that. That's all. Like I said, nobody has to agree with me. Nobody has to agree with you for making your choices or whatever, but they need to respect it. That's how I feel. So those are my thoughts on, is my mother a narcissist, or is my father a narcissist, or my grandparent a narcissist, whichever one, whichever person was your guardian or parent or whatever. So those are just some tips. Shout out to all my new subscribers and those that are, following, liking, and sharing the videos. I appreciate it. Continue to, like I said, subscribe, like, and share. Definitely is appreciated. So once again, this is another episode of the Queen's Perspective, and I'll definitely be, like I said, I'm doing research now. That's why I haven't been doing a whole lot of videos on some new stuff that I've been trying to get, a better understanding on. That way I can articulate it the way I need to articulate it and have a full understanding of it. All right, guys. Later. Continue to shine your light.